most haunted parts in America. So we were in this place called St. Augustine, Florida. It's
Yeah.
like the second
I feel like I
most,
heard about it.
yeah, it's like the second most haunted place in America. And me and about 4 other families with about, each family has about 2 kids my age, so we're all like 12, 13 years old at the time. A couple of the kids were older, like 16, 17, and we were told that like, oh, this house could be haunted, but we never really believed in it. And so the first night we were watching Shark Week on downstairs in like a little living room they had downstairs, and we all got up and left to go eat dinner, and I was the last one to leave. And I remember the TV going just like completely blue, and that was normal. That's like older TVs would go completely blue when you didn't mess with the remote for a while, so it went completely blue. And went upstairs, ate dinner, and I came back downstairs, and the TV was completely red. I was like, oh, like that probably just has nothing to do with like anything. It's whatever, coincidence. Well, TVs are not supposed to be like just completely red. So I didn't know that at the time, but we were all going to sleep, and there was about 6 or 7 of us who slept in the living room upstairs on air mattresses because we didn't have enough bedrooms. And we were all around the same age, 13, 14, and there was this younger girl who was about 8 years old, 9 years old, and she slept close to this set of steps. So the set of steps you went up, and it was like a little flat platform, and then you turned the other way to go up again. So you would go up, platform would go up. And there was about, 20 steps, so 10, the platform and 10, and you could just like in your head, you could visualize the footsteps. So I heard footsteps around like 2 a.m. going up these stairs, and I was like, oh, it's probably some parent just coming up here, because the parents slept downstairs, and then my parents slept about 10 feet away from us in a room upstairs. So I was like, oh, the parents come up here to grab something to drink, whatever. So footsteps come up, and they hit they're about to go up the second set of steps, and then the footsteps get louder and louder. Well, I look over, kind of like peeking over the edge, and there was no one there. Not a soul was there. And footsteps were still coming up, and it got to the point to where like you could tell in your head and through your ears that this person was on your floor. So at this time, the footsteps went away right when they got to the top, and the girl who was sleeping next to the steps, she started crying really hard. Like she was completely asleep. She started crying really hard. And I rolled over to her, and I was like, hey, her name was Campbell. I said, Campbell, you okay? You okay? And I kind of rolled her over, and I shook her and woke her up. I was like, Campbell, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, like, why are you waking me up? And I was like, you were crying. She said, I don't remember ever crying. I was asleep. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. And that was the first night, and we stayed there for 4 nights. So,
Dang.
yeah.
That's
So,
messed up. I would be out. This kind of like this game.
so the second night where nothing really happens in the day, like ghosts don't like to come out at night, or don't like to come out during the day. So nighttime rolls around, and we're just playing cards, and there was this little kind of drawer type area. It had glass doors, and inside are like poker chips and stuff. So we knocked over this little vase area, this little vase thing, and it broke on the ground. As soon as it broke, the doors flung wide open, and all this poker stuff came flying out.
Hey, what are you doing?
You a little scared now?
I think he's kind of scared.
I'm not scared. This is cool.
It is kind of.
Yeah, he's taking the dead. Okay, so don't get in trouble.
Alright, so
What? Okay, about what?
Okay, just come on. It's a scary story. We love scary stories, right?
So yeah, that happens. Poker stuff comes out, And I don't think anything of it, but this.
What is
this,
that light down there?
This.
No, there's a light down there.
I don't know.
Man.
What's the outlet?
So this little figure was a person before it fell over and broke. So I kind of was like, man, like that could have been like someone who dies, thing, like whatever. Didn't think too much of it. So we ended up going to bed. We're all in the living room again. Everyone's asleep, and I wake up and again those footsteps come up.
This is first night still?
This is the second night. Footsteps come up, and I'm like, dude, no, like this is a coincidence. Someone's coming up. No one came up, and this girl started crying again. But she wasn't just crying, she was like almost choking, like something was choking her. So again, I rolled her over, I shook her, I'm like, Campbell, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? What are you doing? Like, talk to me. She woke up and she's like, I'm not crying, nothing's wrong with me. And there was no tears in her eyes weren't red, like it was that she'd been crying. So as soon as she rolls back over to go to bed, my parents' door handle starts shaking and rattling. And at this point, I'm too terrified to get up and go check. So I just kind of throw a blanket over my head and I'm like, just please, God, like, please end this. So after the door stops rattling and shaking, nothing really happened the rest of the night. So we'll fast forward to the third night. So there was the dinner table, and above the dinner table was this big chandelier.
Oh no.
And
Oh gosh.
it was green. So we are, at this point, I'm smart enough to say, hey man, like, can you stay up with me? My best friend, his name was Brian. I asked Brian if he could stay up with me so he can, experience this with me. Like, doesn't think I'm crazy. So about 1 a.m. rolls around, and this chandelier just starts shaking out of nowhere. And the upstairs was pretty hot because we were at the ocean. We didn't really have AC. It was hot.
Yeah.
And he walked over. I don't know why he did it, but he walked over to this table to stop the chandelier from shaking. And he said when he walked over there, he started shivering. Like he became freezing cold. Like something was there.
Talk about
Yeah.
paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Talk about
And
creepy.
I was like, Ryan, like, get back over here. I'm not a nerd about ghosts or whatever, but I know when you're getting cold, that's not a good thing. So he was just like kind of mocking me. He was like messing around, and the footsteps came up again. The chandelier stopped shaking. The footsteps came up, and I said, Ryan, this is it. This is what I've been hearing every night. And he was, what? Like, what are you hearing? I said, do you not hear the footsteps? So we like started walking over to the steps to look over the balcony, because there was like a little balcony to look over the steps, and he didn't hear anything, and I couldn't hear anything. The footsteps stopped again, and he's like, I don't hear anything, man. So I should have said at this time the front door was like right there. So when you went up the first set of steps, all there was like the front door, and then when you walked in the front door, you could either go upstairs or downstairs. There was nothing in the middle area, just a little platform. And as soon as he said, I see nothing there, he swears on his life that he could see a figure go past the door window and leave, like walk outside. Like it kind of was like an intruder was there that just left. And yeah, I mean
Can we get some light up in here?
No.
For real?
that terrified me the most was the fact that someone else saw something, and it wasn't just like a little speck, like he saw a figure. So we go to our last night, and at this point me and him are both like wide awake, and we're like waiting for these footsteps, waiting for this person to come in, whatever. And we tell our parents, and none of them really believe us. Like they're kind of like, oh, whatever. Like we just said that to scare you guys. But so we come to the fourth night, we're asleep, and we eventually hear footsteps. And we look down over the balcony because we're like, we didn't know at this point if it was a ghost. We were still kind of like, whatever, it could be an intruder. Well, it turned out to be one of our buddies that came up the steps at this time. It wasn't a ghost, but he said, hey man, like the bathroom lights are flickering off and on, the water's turning on and off. I don't know if it's a shortage or what. So he starts messing with the lights and the water, and you can hear this guy scream. And this guy like never he's not afraid of much. He's a big dude, and he screams really loud. And the entire house is like, man, what's going on? What is it? And he said when he bent down to pick something to like fix the water underneath, he said when he came back up and looked in the mirror, there was someone standing behind him.
Oh gosh.
And he said it was a dark figure. And me and Ryan looked at each other and were just like, man, that's what we saw. And the parents were kind of like, oh, you're just doing this to make us mad because we tricked you. And we're like, no, like, we're being dead serious. And this was probably around 12:30. We'll fast forward to about 3 a.m. Everyone goes to bed. Everyone's still kind of like iffy if something really happened. So around 3 a.m., footsteps come again. And this time we don't get up because we're terrified. We don't get up. We don't move. We hide. And again, footsteps come up. They stop, and this girl starts crying. And this time, when she cries and I roll her over, she basically, she didn't even act the same. It's kind of like she was possessed, but I knew she wasn't possessed. But she started crying again, and she was like, "It's here, it's here," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" And at that time, my parents' door, the door handle started rattling like over and over again, and it kind of like slowly creaked open. And my parents, you could like kind of see them like arise out of bed, and they were like, "What's going on?" And then their shower door slammed shut. And yeah, that's basically what happened in Florida. So
Dang.
yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah. After the shower door slammed shut,
We left.
it just kind of ended from there. We all went back to sleep, kind of terrified, and woke up the next day and left. So
Holy cow.
it kind of like it kind of felt like someone was in there and they didn't want us to be in there. So yeah.
Did you ever like read it, like look it up?
Oh yeah, it's let me look it up again, but I know for a fact that St. Augustine is one of the most haunted places. I don't know about that house specifically, but I know St. Augustine.
Cow.
Well, I mean, if you're in St. Augustine, I feel like the house that you specifically went to was very haunted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the beach every day?
Yeah, it was the beach
You
every
didn't
day.
turn the light on?
I ain't turning the light on. I'm scared to even get up now.
Y'all are wimps.
I'm not scared. I just don't want to get up. Holy cow, it's bright.
Okay, let's just lose our phone. Use our phone.
Like that's.
Mine kind of lights up the entire stuff.
Holy cow. That was a creepy story.
That was creepy.
And that's
You got any others?
I have a couple. I have like one more, but it was just a place I went to. It wasn't